house flipper, a businesswoman, a go-getter, a big investor, a gold builder that could teach you to get richer like millions, baby. You really about to fill your savings. You about to have multiple streams to pass to your children, baby. Let me teach you to get your credit on track in the long run. You'll make it all back at Catalyst and watch it all psychology black on firm, but we ain't all black.
What's up, everybody? It is your girl, Constance Carter, and this is the Grow Your Money Club, where we talk about ways that you can grow your money and not blow your money, because if you blow your money, it ain't a damn thing funny. Listen, I'm so happy to be here. Happy MLK Day to everybody. Today is a day that we celebrate a genius, and I don't know if y'all know, but your good president, Donald Trump, had so every year, I don't know if y'all know, every year they make national parks free to everybody on MLK Day. And he said, we ain't doing that no more. We're going to make the parks free on our day. To understand that we have a narcissist in chief is crazy. This man has changed the Kennedy Center to be the Trump Kennedy Center. This man this is the biggest grift in America right now. The biggest grift going on in America is in the White House with Donald Trump. But anyway, I wanted to shout out Dr. Martin Luther King for everything he's done. And I was watching his daughter over the weekend in an interview, and she said, somebody asked her, who was that? What podcast was she on? They said, what's one of the biggest myths of Martin Luther King? What is one of the biggest myths? She said one of the biggest myths was that he wanted the country to be colorblind. He ain't never said he wanted you to not recognize who people were. He wanted you to be judged based upon the content of your character, not recognizing who we are as African Americans or as Hispanics or as Asians. We are all different. We're all uniquely made, but we can be respected for being different. So people who say that they're colorblind, oh, I don't look at you as black. That's not a compliment. I don't look at you as, I am very black. I'm the blackest light-skinned chick that you know. So don't say that you don't look at me as a black woman, because I am very black. But that's one of the biggest myths. And you know, it's respect. We can have respect for people's differences. So I just wanted to say happy MLK Day. His birthday was last week, but we celebrate today in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King. But I want to shout you guys out, and I want to talk about deed theft today. I want to tell you a story that's happened to me, and I want to tell you how you can prevent it, because it's on the rise. Okay. So if you are watching today, I'm on Instagram. I typically don't go on Instagram, but today I'm on Instagram today. I'm always on YouTube. I'm always on Facebook, on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter. So I added Instagram on there today. So if you're on Instagram, shout out to the people on Instagram. You guys can't see their comments because their comments are normally on Instagram. But if you're on YouTube, Facebook, whatever, make sure that you follow me at I Am Constance Carter, everywhere at I Am Constance Carter, because I come live every single day. So if you are new here, thank you for joining me. And it just so happens that I'm really passionate. If you don't know who I am, I built the largest Black-owned real estate firm in California, own several properties, have several best-selling books. And I exist really to help Black people to build, grow, invest, and pass their wealth on to the next generation. So that's everything that you see is really centered around that. I do a lot of Black history spotlights, but I actually started, I've always loved Black history, but I actually started doing these Black history spotlights in response to the current administration. Okay, y'all want to take out Black history in our books, in our schools? All right, we're going to tell it anyway, because y'all ain't telling the real truth anyway. So we're going to give you the real hardcore Black history straight with no chaser. And so that's the reason why I do it. But I also look at history and I look at today and I try to see how they can relate. And that's kind of how my Black history spotlights are birthed. So I do those, and just trying to educate people, because the problem is a lot of times we have adopted their talking points in who we are. We're lazy. We're trifling. We're not educated. And those aren't necessarily the cases. We've been through so many things. We've built wealth. Things were taken from us. We were deprived. And here's the beauty of it all, Black people. And this is for my people. Now, anybody can listen to me. I don't have a problem with anybody listening to me, but I'm speaking to Black people specifically. I just want to let you know that you are a resilient people, because after slavery and the emancipation, we started building wealth. right? We started doing things, and they burned things down, they bombed us, they stole our deeds, they stole our houses, and that's what I talk about. I have a book that's getting ready to be released called Taken Without Notice, but I talk about the history and how we've lost wealth. So we've lost wealth throughout the years. Then they had redlining. They decided to make home ownership available for everybody. We got this new thing called the FHA loan where we have home ownership available for everyone from all walks of life. And guess what? It wasn't available to us due to redlining. Then you had predatory lending. And then you had all of these barriers that were in the way that have prevented us from taking part of the wealth building experience. So now, even though we've had all these barriers, they've had a 400-year head start. We're 44% of us are still homeowners. So I just want to pat yourself. I want you to pat yourself on the back. If you are Black and you are a homeowner, put in the comments that I am Black and I am a homeowner. Put in the comments, I'm Black and I am a homeowner. Because I really want to celebrate Black folks for being Black, being homeowners in spite of, not because they allowed us to have certain privileges, but in spite of all the barriers that have come our way. 44% of us are still homeowners, while 70% of them are. You would think with all the advantages, they got 276 million acres of free land in the Homestead Act. We didn't even get no land from the Emancipation Proclamation. You would think 100% of them motherfuckers was homeowners, and they're not. So in spite of all the things that we've been through, 44% of us are still homeowners. That is a beautiful thing. But now that we're homeowners, we got to protect our wealth. And a lot of folks are losing their wealth because of things like deed theft. Let me show you this. You know what? It went out. Let me show you this video real quick. I shared a few years ago. Not years ago. I shared a few months ago. And it is a very, very sad case of what happened to this young lady. Watch this.
Watch this heartbreaking video, and I'm going to give you some tips on how to overcome this or avoid this in the future, because property theft and fraud is happening more than you know.
They aren't here for no reason. We're not trying to create a bigger problem. I have dealt with you multiple times. I know what's going on. However, if they are here to do this job, that means the courts has decided to take the property.
What did I have to say to you?
Okay,
when you
so
were here before, I said that my house was refinanced fraudulently. I have been in my home for 26 years. I own the deed and the title. I tried to buy some commercial property, and a man forged my name. Okay? They illegally put me out my house. That's what they did. Nobody's providing documentation. How do the criminal get to do the crime in front of the police, in front of the sheriff? Who did that? My house wasn't even packed up. Do you think if I really did it, if I was guilty, I would let... My mother just died. All her stuff is in there. I will move my stuff out. Yo, this ain't right. I'm not blaming them. What did nobody listen?
Yes.
So if you have a number I can send something to.
Yes, I did.
Hold on a second.
Say what?
You ready for my number?
I mean, when I packed up something, if I knew that.
So this woman's home was paid for free and clear, yet because of a forged sale, she's about to be thrown out into the streets. This is title fraud, and it's happening more than you think. So check your property records, sign up for property fraud alerts, lock your credit, protect your title like your life depends on it, because for many, it does. And if this ever happens to you, act immediately. Call a real estate attorney, file an emergency motion to stop the eviction, and alert the sheriff's office. And yes, there's something called a title lock. It won't stop somebody from filing a fake deed, but it will alert you the moment anything changes on your property title. That early warning could be the difference between catching a scam in time or losing your home before you even know it happened. No one should lose their home to a criminal's pen. Share this video so we can protect each other, because knowledge can save somebody's home.
So you think about this. You work hard to get your home. You pay off your home. You go to try to buy some commercial property. You try to refinance your property, pull a little cash out so you could purchase some commercial property or do something else. and somebody steals your title, and there's nothing that you can do about it. There's some things that probably could have been done, but I'll share some stories and I'll share some tips. But did you hear the pain in this woman's voice? She had been in this home for 26 years. And these people were able to come and evict her. The sheriff was there. She was at a point where the sheriff was there moving her things out of her home. This is this woman's home, and this happens more than not. Many of you guys may have seen a video that I just did recently where somebody tried to steal my home. Now listen, here I am teaching this very thing, and this very thing happens to me. And that's the reason why I ended up writing a book, and it's being released on February 1st. But let me tell you what happened to me. And it's so funny because there was so many misunderstandings, but I did a couple of videos about it, and they've gotten hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of views on different platforms. But what happened to me is the home I'm in now, I purchased this home, right? So this home was in HOA foreclosure. This home was an HOA foreclosure. And so when it went on the market as a regular sale, I didn't get it in HOA foreclosure, but it was in HOA foreclosure because the elderly gentleman that I purchased the property from, he fell ill and he got behind on his HOAs. Now, how an HOA, and so I've actually initiated some legislation around this, and I have some meetings with some delegates about this this year. But an elderly gentleman can actually got sick, goes into the hospital, and he falls behind maybe a couple of $1,000s on his HOAs. So this the HOA and this gentleman who's been known to do this all over Prince George's County, which is one of the wealthiest Black counties in the country, he purchases the HOA lien. $8,000. Well, it was like $3,000, but then after all of the fees, it ended up being like $86 or $8,800, something like that. So he purchased this deed for $8,600. So when I get into contract with these folks, they say that it's subject to them resolving whatever the lien, and they told me what it was, and I was like, oh, that's easy. All they got to do is pay it off, and we should be fine. This is what we're all thinking. They go to court the first time. The court rules in the guy's favor. Nope, this was an HOA foreclosure. This was legal. This was legit. Fuck, what? And so I'm ready. Of course, I am a real estate professional. I own a mortgage company. So I'm like ready to close within a week or two on this property. It's $1 million property, $8,600. So then they appeal it. They go to court again. And then they had another postponement. So this was in April of last year. What was 2024? April of 2024. Was it 24 or 25? 24. And then August, they go to court again, and then they have another postponement till October. In October, the judge ruled that the foreclosure was invalid because of several reasons. It was illegal. Okay. So this was an illegal foreclosure. However, when they filed foreclosure, the sheriff gave this guy a deed to file on the house. Well, that deed, because of that foreclosure, was overturned. That deed was now invalid. Listen to me. Now, keep this in mind. So that deed he got was invalid. So after they ruled, they said, Constance, we're ready to settle. We're ready to close. Bet. We fund, record, we're good. Well, this gentleman wasn't happy. He probably had plans. I got this $1 million house for $8,600. He already had plans. Now, this is the same guy who is his name is Sam Asghari. We're going to put it out there. His name is Sam Asghari. He was in some type of legal entanglement with Kevin Spacey. He's been known to do this all over Prince George's County that I know, also in Montgomery County and other areas. So if you can look him up in case records to see, he had like, I don't know, 60, 70 properties that he was either in foreclosure on or he was doing eviction. So that's what I believe he planned on doing with me. So after I'm in the property, it's mine. Got my living trust. I hadn't finished doing a living trust yet. So I closed in November. I didn't end up moving until December. January, he files an appeal with the Supreme Court. Supreme Court dismisses the case. You're done. You are done. No, this ain't your house. You're not getting this house. Well, in March, he decides to take that deed that they gave him from when they did the sheriff's sale, and he decided to record it on my property. So I had no idea. However, thank God for Zillow, for Jesus and Zillow. And I get Zillow alerts. And so Zillow said a new house in your neighborhood sold. So I look it up. It was $8,600. Rut-roll, same amount as mine. Guess whose house it was? My house. $8,600. Your house sold. So now this man's name is on my house and my name is off the house, but I still have a loan on the house. So I got the liability and not the asset. So now he's the legal title owner of my house. And I am paying a mortgage on this house every month. So of course I have what's called title insurance. So that's one of the things. If you own a house, even if you pay it off free and clear, keep title insurance on your house forever. So I have title insurance. So the first thing I did is I called an attorney. He said, do you have title insurance? I said, I do. He said, call your title insurance and they will pay for the attorney. So I called my title insurance company. Well, first of all, the attorney sent out an email to him and his attorneys and was like, "Fuck you doing?" And he responded, "You guys have violated my civil rights. This is my house, but I'll take a settlement," or some stupid ass shit. So my attorney was like, "Oh, dude is crazy. Oh," he was like, "You better watch your surroundings because this don't even make logical sense. This man really think this is his house." I said, "Well, if he come up in here, he gonna come in here walking, but he gonna walk limping or on a stretcher because I don't play them games. You come in here try to take what's mine, you're not leaving on your feet." So, I'm not scared. I'm not concerned. I'm not worried. But he was just like, it's kind of crazy. So so he was like, all right, well, so we give it to the title company and the title insurance, and the title insurance filed some documents. He never responded. We go to court. The judge rules in my favor. I have a video on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. Rules in my favor, and the house gets transferred back to me. Okay. I was lucky because so I have other properties in other counties. I didn't get an alert from the county's recording office. I didn't get an alert from them. I got my alert from Zillow. So in other counties, like when I've transferred my properties into corporations, LLCs, or in my living trust, typically the county recorder's office sends out a letter saying, "Hey, did you do this? Was this done in legally? Was there fraud? That I just want to make sure that you've done this." This county didn't do it. I don't know if they do this, but I never received any notification from the county. So Zillow was my saving grace. So I don't know what this man planned on doing. What I can say that he probably was going to do, allegedly, was he was going to try to evict me from my house. He was going to come one day with the sheriff and try to evict me from my house because he was the legal owner, even though I had a loan on it. He didn't get that far. He didn't respond. House is back in my name. But when I posted about this, so my inbox flooded with people that this happened to. There was a guy, so many people. There was a guy who went to Africa to care for a sick parent. He came back, shit was on the line. There was a gentleman's daughter reached out to me. He fell behind on his HOA, and it was all like same amount. And evicted, HOA foreclosure. Agent reached out to me and said, I had the exact same thing that happened a couple of years before. I had some elderly clients, and it took us 2 years to get through that. She said, after we finally won, she said it was so stressful. Both of the elderly parents and elderly people ended up dying, and the son ended up dying. She said everybody was so stressed. She said, I swear, she doesn't know, but she said, I swear this probably has something to do with, contributed to it because, everybody died. It was so stressful. So there's just a lot of these predatory things going on. And the problem is nobody knows how to fight it. Had this gentleman that I purchased my house from, had they gone with the first decision, this house would have been theirs for $8,800, $8,600, $1 million property. But because they appealed it and their lawyer knew what to do, and they found a couple of things. This lawyer, this HOA attorney, and this investor were in different communities doing the same thing. Can't make no accusations about what that was. I don't have any thoughts or ideas, but you can come to your own conclusion. Same HOA attorney, same investor. Okay, different communities, different HOAs. But the other thing is they found is everything is done incorrectly. And so those are the grounds in which they were able to fight this particular situation on. It was done. They didn't do, there's like several checkpoints of what they're supposed to do when they file these HOA foreclosures, and they do maybe 3 of the 10, something like that. So it was sold for an unconscionable amount. How are you going to sell a $1 million home for $8,600? But there are also things that other checks and balances they didn't do. They didn't serve properly. They didn't give proper notice. There was no notification on the doors. Like, you're supposed to do all these things to make sure. On one of the people who reached out to me, they said, "Oh, we couldn't reach him, so we gave the notice to your neighbor." That's not proper notice. So this happens, and what's been happening, especially in a county like Prince George's County, this is one of again the wealthiest Black counties in the country, and Black folks are losing their wealth due to things like this, in addition to other things. So that is why we have to be vigilant. I want to share a couple of stories with you that I got. Let me see. Let me share a couple of stories with you that I've seen online. So I've lived in my house for 17 years. The mortgage was paid off. One day I get a letter addressed to someone else saying, "Welcome to your new property." I thought it was a mistake. Turns out someone filed a quitclaim deed with my forged signature. County recorded it on paper. The house wasn't mine anymore. I had to hire an attorney just to prove I was still alive and never sold my house. It took months, thousands and thousands of dollars. I still don't understand how this was allowed to happen so easily. Here's the thing with these things also, you guys. The burden of proof is on you as a homeowner. So once these deed thefts get your property, now you have to spend when everything was said and done, on the final settlement sheet, this $3,000 back pay on the HOA ended up being $8,600, ended up being $30,000 that came out of the seller's funds, out of his proceeds from this one little thing. So the burden of proof happens to be on the homeowner. So again, that's the reason why I have a meeting with some delegates about this very thing, because this is absolutely ridiculous. So what they needed to do is a living trust would have definitely helped that. Now, a living trust is not going to solve the problem, but it just makes it a little bit more difficult. And I'll tell you why. What they should have also done is, what you also need to do is you need to monitor. You need to set up some type of alert. I mentioned in that video that you could do deed lock, a title lock. Title lock, Norton has a title lock. Go on Norton. Now, a title lock is not going to lock your title. Only thing a title lock does is it notifies you in the event that something changes on your title. So like I said, for many counties, they will send something out if something was to happen, if there's a change in title. Prince George's County didn't send me shit. So thank God for Zillow, or I wouldn't have known had I, not been like just monitoring my stuff. But a title lock, and I think they're like $9 a month or something like that. It'll definitely help to monitor your title. If there's some kind of, it's kind of like credit monitoring. Like if something happens with your credit, you'll get an alert. If there's a late payment on your credit, you'll get an alert. Title monitoring is the same thing, has the same thing. So once you pay off your property, even if you didn't pay off your property, just to be safe and secure, get a title lock. Again, it's not going to stop it from happening. It'll alert you when it does happen. Okay. So another thing that they could have done is, so the living trust makes it more difficult. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, periodic title checks. Okay. If you were to check your title every now and then, which I do, I check my title every now and then on all my properties. Hey, what's going on? Let me make sure, everything is good. Because you just never know. All right. So check your property titles. Make sure you have some type of alert. Your county, you could actually get alerts. A lot of these counties will have alerts that you could sign up for. So go to your county recorder's office in whatever county you live in. You can go online, and some of them have alerts that you could set up should anything happen. It should be automatic, but all counties don't have this. Okay. So make sure that you are vigilant, because as you can see, the burden of proof is on the homeowner, who has to end up spending thousands of dollars on attorney fees. And of course, if you have title insurance, like I didn't have to spend a dime. However, it could have been really bad for me. Had I not had a title insurance, I would have had to pay thousands of dollars. So make sure, even if you pay off your house free and clear, you have some type of title insurance on the policy. In the event that something happens, a lawyer will take care of that. Okay. So let's look at another one. So my mom died without a will or trust. While we were grieving, somebody pulled the public records. They forged the paperwork and transferred her house to themselves. So by the time probate started, the house had already been sold to an investor. We were told it would be expensive and difficult to unwind. So we lost a house that was supposed to be our inheritance. Now that is dead fucking wrong. So what could have been done? Of course, a living trust, right? And again, a living trust does not prevent fraud. It's not going to prevent fraud. It just puts a layer of complication on it, and I'll talk about it in a minute. All right. But the trust would have prevented it from entering probate. Okay. Now, it being in probate, it now made it public. So because there were delays on it, it allowed bad actors to intervene. They had no legal authority because it was in probate to intervene. So having a living trust could have avoided this. All right. So let me just tell you who's most vulnerable or who's most at risk for something like this happening. Well, I'm sure you guys know. Your parents, your grandparents, seniors, right? People whose homes are paid off. So seniors, check your mama, check your daddy, check your grandparents, because those are the most vulnerable. This happens to them so much. I was at my dad's house a couple of months ago, and my dad got scam likely calls all day long. I got to call him back and see because what I did is I put him on the do not disturb list. So I don't know if he's still getting them all day, but they know these predatory people are calling these that are trying to confuse these seniors, that are calling them all day. Okay. So older people are most at risk. Families who don't have living trusts are most at risk. People who own property free and clear, they're most at risk. Out-of-state owners. So I have some properties that are out of state. Yeah, they're most at risk. People who are divorced. Anybody who doesn't regularly check their property records, you're most at risk of something like this happening. So it is paramount that you keep good records, that you monitor your property, that you do the protections. Because here's the thing, y'all. We want to build wealth. That's why we do this. This is why I exist. I want to help Black people build wealth. Again, information for everybody, but specifically for me, it's for Black people. Okay. So we are so behind. We just got into wealth building in the last 50 years. Yeah. So I got another video that I talk about where I moved into this wealthy community, and everybody's white, and I went to go see who lived in my neighborhood, and I couldn't see who it was because everybody had their home in a living trust. I didn't know what it was. And then I moved into a Black community, wealthy as well. Some of my neighbors got bowling alleys in their houses. And I went to go look up these people, and guess what? I could see everybody's business. Why? Because their homes aren't in living trusts. There's no anonymity. There's no privacy. Something happens. We go into probate court, and I'm doing videos like every day, and I'm posting them on TikTok, and I'm posting them on Instagram, just different regular situations. I've told you about what happens to celebrities, and what happens is people think, oh, that's a rich person's problem. But this happens to everyday people when you don't got your shit in order. And oh, by the way, if you're watching, I see a bunch of people watching on Instagram, folks watching on Facebook. Make sure you follow me everywhere, and I am Constance Carter. I go live on YouTube just about every day. And tomorrow I'm doing a masterclass. I do free masterclasses every Tuesday where I talk about different things, where I try to help, again, in different wealth building strategy. So tomorrow I'm doing a training. It's free. Every Tuesday I do a free training, free of charge, where I'm talking about good debt versus bad debt, how to use, because debt could be good, and it all depends on how you use it. Are you using it on appreciating assets or depreciating assets? And so I want to help you to be able to utilize your debts really well. And so I've had some other trainings where I talked about living trusts, where I've talked about credit. Every month I'm going to be doing a credit party, a virtual credit party every month for free. So I think my first one is in February, and this is where I'm going to just break down credit, and then I'm going to give an opportunity for a couple of people to come on so I can help them increase their credit score. I used to do these credit parties back in the day. It was kind of like a Tupperware party. I was like, I want to bring that back, but let me do it virtually. And so I would go into people's houses, and they would cook. They would invite all their friends over, and I would talk about credit. And at the end, I would do one-on-one consultations with people, and I would just go through their credit report, and I would tell them what they could do specifically in order to increase their credit score. And so that's what I'll be doing again starting next month. So if you're interested, sign up for it's free gym masterclass on Tuesday. It's going to be on Tuesday. That's going to be the first Tuesday of February. Yeah. So I do these things every Tuesday. Again, this is my give back, my ministry to other people. I'm not charging you. It's my, my intellectual property that I'm giving to you. Anyway, let's go to the next story. Let me give you another story. I want to make it real plain and real clear to you that this shit is real. And we have to be just so vigilant about keeping our wealth, because folks is trying to steal our shit. People are out there trying to steal your shit. Don't think that they aren't. People, you think about the emails you get, the phishing emails, the Trojan horses. Like, people wake up, they stay up all night trying to figure out how they can take from somebody else. This is one of the many ways that people are trying to take from somebody else. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of wealth is lost in our communities because of these very reasons. So here goes another story. I'm military. I was overseas for 8 months. When I came back, I found out my rental property had been transferred out of my name. Somebody forged a deed and refinanced it. They pulled out the equity, y'all, and they disappeared. The bank didn't care at first because the paperwork looked valid. And I spent a year fighting to get my house back. Is that crazy? Again, burden of proof is on them. They're deployed. Somebody forged a deed. Okay. So they were out of state. They were unavailable. They had nobody that was kind of in charge, or they didn't have no delegate that could have acted on their behalf. They had no property monitoring alerts. They could have gotten a title lock. None of that stuff. Somebody forged their documents. And then because it looked legit, the bank said, nah, this is you. You took this money. So if they had a trust, if they had monitoring services, that could have helped. But again, people work day and night trying to steal your shit. It's crazy, but they do. Okay. Yeah, especially the older population. Yep. I got a ebook, y'all, where I want my goal is that I'm helping Black folks build wealth. And I created an ebook, what happened was, and I got some more stories to share with you, but the reason why I did this is because there's so many people without this. There's so many people who without living trust. And y'all, I have had so many situations where my mama always said, folks get to acting funny when it comes to death and money. And so I've had so many situations where folks is fighting. You would think that death would bring people closer together. You really would. You would think that, it would be a time where, folks are like, man, life is short. Mama just died. And we need to just really because we don't know what, day or the hour. Nah, pimping. Folks, I've seen some things. Folks ain't talking to people for 20 years because somebody took mama's jewelry without mama's permission. It's crazy. I seen personally, somebody used to work for me. You might be watching. You remember this? Her father-in-law died. Her father-in-law had a girlfriend, and the man died. The man still sitting at the table, dead. They taking furniture out the man's house. He ain't even went to the corner yet. He's at the table dead. And they taking furniture out. This is my mama's furniture. But this is just how people react when people die. They do the opposite of what you would think. So people get to acting funny when it comes to death and money. So that's why it's important to have your wishes spelled out up front. Okay. So Black folks we're behind on this. We're behind on it. We don't have our living trust. We don't have our asset protection. You can do it. It's not hard, but a lot of us are intimidated by it. That's why I try to make it as unintimidating as possible. Y'all, I got a freaking ebook. And what's funny is I was talking about having a living trust on a video, and then somebody took my video and they putting ads all over the place for their ebook. I was like, the hell? I have an ebook, but I created an ebook because what happened was I purchased a living trust from an attorney for like $3,000 years ago, and I ended up redoing my living trust when I purchased some more properties, because you also have to update your living trust too as as things happen in your life. And I was using my living trust, ChatGPT, and I was like, let me create a ebook for everyday people. This is very simple that you can do. I give you the prompts. I give you the everything for medical directives and special verbiage for your particular state. I show you how to file it. I show you where to file it, all the things. So inside this ebook, that's what I do is get your living trust using ChatGPT. You could do it yourself. Okay. Of course, if you ask an attorney, should you do it yourself? They're going to say absolutely not. But it's stuff that you can do yourself because they want to get paid $1,500 to $3,000. Somebody told me that they paid $10,000 for their living trust. So you can go to makemylivingtrust.com and grab your own. And it's very simple. It is legally binding. You get it notarized, record your grant deeds. I tell you how to do all of that stuff as well. But it's $25 freaking dollars. So you go from $1,000, $1,500, $3,000 to $25 to doing it yourself. You can't beat it. But all these things could have been avoided had they still could have committed fraud. I don't want to get it twisted. However, I'll tell you why it could have been. It would have been a lot harder with the living trust. Okay, so let me go to the next story. All right, so I always thought paid off homes were the safest. Turns out they're the biggest target. No lender to flag anything, no monthly statements, just equity sitting there. Somebody recorded a fake deed, then used my house as collateral for a loan. I only found out when foreclosure notices showed up. That is crazy. So a paid off home is what's going to attract fraud because there's no lender oversight. There's no monthly statements. They got a lot of equity. So had they had title insurance, had they still have title insurance, had they monitored their title with maybe a title lock or through the county recorder's office, had they periodically reviewed their title, this could have been prevented or at least caught a little bit earlier, right? But predators look for things like this. Be vigilant, y'all. Here's another one. I trusted a notary because they had a stamp and a license number. Guess what? It was fake. They notarized a forged deed and the county recorder took it without question. By the time I found out, the thief had already sold my property. The system assumes documents are real unless you prove that they're not. So the notary was fake. So, I mean, what do? You can't really verify notary credentials, right? You can. I guess there is a database in all states for notaries. So make sure that you vet people that you deal with. Make sure you do your research. Okay. And you got to understand what happens at the county. But again, they knew that there was some type of transfer coming up. So it's just a matter of being vigilant about your property and making sure that you properly vet people that you're working with. Okay. My grandma left me a house, but probate was taking a while. During that time, somebody filed a deed claiming that they bought it. I didn't even live in the state, so the county didn't notify me. The burden of proof was on me to prove fraud, and I had no idea this was even a thing. And that is what I keep telling y'all. The burden of proof is on the victim. That's the crazy thing, is the burden of proof is on the victim. So the probate, having the property, if the property was in living trust, it would have created some protections. Probate delayed the fact that, because there was a delay, so it added to the exposure of this fraud. There was no oversight during this transition. So because it had public records, there was public records going on because of probate and it wasn't in the living trust, it gave it exposure. It made the property vulnerable. It made the transaction vulnerable. So it's important that if you are out of state, again, you are alerting, you're aware, you're getting the notices, because a lot of people have properties overstate or they've gotten inheritances. This person lost grandmama's house. And here's the last story. It's kind of what happened to me. I was browsing Zillow and saw my house listed for sale. I wasn't selling. Turns out somebody transferred the deed and listed it with the cash buyer. If I hadn't randomly checked Zillow, the sale would have gone through. So the fact that this person saw their house on Zillow, as did I. So the deed was transferred without them knowing. Just crazy. So the county, they sign up for those county property alerts. Make sure that you're checking. Get Zillow alerts for your neighborhood. See if something's happening. Okay. But because of Zillow, they were able to figure it out and to stop the house from selling and going through whatever they went through. But again, here's the thing. The burden of proof is always on the homeowner. Again, there should be legislation that protects homeowners. Again, I am meeting with some delegates to have these conversations because this is predatory. Okay. Let me tell you why a living trust offers protections. Okay. So number one, it removes your name from easy targets, right? So my living trust isn't Constance Carter Living Trust. My living trust is called something else. So nobody knows. So it gives me that protection of anonymity. All right. So most deed thefts, they start by pulling records and searching for if the home is free and clear, who's the owner, if they're elderly, so if the properties are in individual names, they're able to kind of do their research. Okay. When it's held in a living trust, the ownership is listed under the trust name, not just your name. And that alone will remove you from the low hanging fruit. All right. Thieves, they want easy targets. So a living trust would slow them down. All right. It also adds a legal layer. So with a living trust, what a thief can't do is they can't forge a name. They would have to impersonate a trustee. They don't know who the trustee is because it's inside. Well, in some counties, it does show who the trustee is. But for the most part, they don't know who the trustee is. So they don't know whose name to forge. So they have to have a copy of the trust to know who is on the trust. So what name to forge. They have none of that. So it gives you that extra layer of protection. Okay. A trust also gives the trustee an immediate authority to act if there is fraud. So if somebody dies, doesn't go into probate, you don't have to have these waiting periods from the court. It's not costly. It's not expensive. So that's the great thing as well. It just makes fraud easier to challenge. Okay. So I want you guys just to remember, this is how you protect yourself. If we are in this bit, if we are here, if we exist to build wealth, we got to protect it. We have to pass it. And so making sure that we do just small things like that to move the needle, to protect ourselves. I have a book that I'm getting ready to release on February 2nd. It's called Taken Without Notice. Where is it at? Taken Without Notice. I want you guys could pre-order it on Amazon, I believe. But I talk about all of this stuff and how you can really dig deep and how you can really protect yourself and things that happen to me and things that have happened to other people. And just make sure, especially if you're dealing with elderly people, if you don't have a lot of knowledge, get up on the knowledge. That's why all you guys are down. So I'm really grateful that you guys are watching around. Educate yourself as much as possible because it's important for you to build wealth. Real estate is the number one way. It's the single number one way that we can actually build wealth. It's the number one way, wealthness. Number one way, actually number two way. Number one wealth builder is generational wealth, when wealth is passed from generation to generation. The second is through real estate. And so get that property, get that home, invest in those things. But then the biggest thing is we're trying to give our children a head start. That's one of the ways where we can do it. And that's passing out some wealth. That's giving them, a starting point to where they can go. You think about 400 years, we got nothing. What we passed to our children was trauma, was debt, right? Because of what we've been through as Black people. They were able to take free labor, purchase property, and their ancestors were able to build, were able to get more things. And so folks to say, especially white people, well, I didn't get anything, I don't have no privilege. Well, shame on you, because you blew it. Because just because of your white privilege, you still get access and opportunities that people of color don't get, that Black folks don't get. So we've had to overcome a lot of things. And so now that you finally get in a place in the space where you're building wealth, that you're a homeowner, let's make sure that we pass it to our children and our children's children. That's what I want for us more than anything. So that's the reason why I come live to you every day. So if this is your first time watching me, I appreciate you watching. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow me on YouTube and Instagram, Facebook, and all those. And I am Constance Carter. I'm doing a training tomorrow. Like I said, I do these free master classes every Tuesday where I show people different wealth strategies. It's my give back to you. Okay. I also have what's called the Grow Your Money Club, where I have over 30 trainings. And when I put a new training in every week, but different strategies, different things that I help people out with, everything that I know. Again, I'm a bestseller, house flipper, a businesswoman, a go-getter, a big investor. Anyway, all these things that I do, I've written books, best-selling books. I've done, and I teach you how to do all these things inside the Grow Your Money Club. If you don't know, while everybody else is out here blowing their money, you about to be growing your money. How? Inside the Grow Your Money Club, this is your one-stop wealth building training hub designed to help you build, grow, invest, and diversify your income. You have the credit bundle, which is going to help you to increase your credit IQ with business credit, personal credit, with the credit repair masterclass. And then you have the real estate bundle. This is where we're going to show you how to invest in tax deeds, land banks, how to buy a house separately from your spouse, the Living Trust ebook, and from Campus Cash Flows, showing your children how to become real estate investors. In the investor bundle, you're going to learn how to invest using Robinhood, the investor success formula, and the wealth map 6-phase blueprint that shows you how to build, grow, and invest your money. And finally, the business builder bundle. This is where we show you how to establish your entity and build business credit, how to obtain government contracts, how to create jaw-dropping video content, how to write and publish your best-selling book, and even how to bring your idea to life. You can purchase each training a la carte, get the bundle that fits your goals, or unlock the 12-month roadmap, which is your full access pass to every single training inside the Grow Your Money Club. While they're spending, you stacking. While they're watching, you winning. Join the Grow Your Money Club today. This is another way where I'm trying to just educate the folks, because you guys come here to get put up on some game. And so I go a little bit deeper on a lot of the trainings that I do. Somebody just DM'd me today, was like, how do you do your videos? I do the Black History videos. I teach you that in the Grow Your Money Club. How do you get your credit? I'm a certified credit expert. I teach you that in the Grow Your Money Club. Folks have increased their credit scores, and I have books too. So I have all these things that I've just used to help other people. The ebook, make sure you get the ebook. Go to makemylivingtrust.com. So I want to answer some questions real quick before we get out of here, because I saw some questions. And if you have questions, let me know. But there's a question on Instagram I see. Somebody said, I think they said, where do you get title insurance? What'd I do? Did I get locked out of, dang it. Hope I'm still on Instagram. Shit, if I can't even see it now. If you're on Instagram, come over to YouTube real quick, or Facebook. But somebody asked where you get title insurance from. Can you get it from an insurance company? No, you typically get title insurance from like title company. You get it from lenders, from escrow companies, from real estate attorneys, from mortgage lenders. You could also get direct online quotes, but they're not typically from an insurance company. It's just title insurance. So like if you're purchasing a property, you typically will not be able to get financing without title insurance, but those are the places that you can get them. So not from an insurance company, but like title companies, escrow companies, attorneys, and other places like that. Okay. So I don't know what happened to Instagram. I don't know if there's any more questions on there. But I am on YouTube. You see me on YouTube, Travis. What's happening? Where do I get a title lock? I mentioned Norton has a title lock. I think it's like $9 or $9.99 or something like that. But again, it's title lock is a monitoring service. It's not necessarily it's not gonna necessarily stop them from doing anything with your title, but it will alert you should anything happen. Okay. Oh shit, I know my audio went crazy. Somebody said, I advised my dad to do this years before my grandmother passed. She passed, and it took him 7 years to get the house back. And it costs a lot of money too. All right. So what about notices? I don't know what you mean. All right, cool. All right. So that's all the questions. So listen, tomorrow I'm doing the masterclass. Tuesday, I do the masterclass, and it's free. Go to homeownersmasterclass.com to register. I'm going to be talking about good debt versus bad debt. What you want to do is you just want to, it's free. I don't do it longer than an hour because I don't even want to be on Tuesdays, but this is part of the commitment I made. I wrote a book last month, y'all. It's called The Ramp Journal. And this is what helped me, this method, this ramp method is what helped me to get back on track when things were going haywire in my life. And so I took these strategies and I put it in a book for other people. And so as I was doing my meditation in the morning, I was thinking about ways that I could give back, where I could serve people. And the Tuesday classes, because I was coming live every single day, and I was like, that's a lot. And so so I had Tuesday and Friday off. And so I was like, you know, what I'll do on Tuesdays now is I'll do a free masterclass on certain things on Tuesday. So that's why I come live on Tuesday to the gym masterclass. And we have good attendances. I mean, we have, you know, sometimes 300-400 people on our trainings that are learning. So I do this for you. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about good debt versus bad debt and how you can utilize your good debt to build wealth. Okay. Because rich people do not use their own money. They use OPM. How do we do that? How do we utilize that? Okay. So that's what tomorrow's masterclass is. So go to gymmasterclass.com so that you can register. You got to register before you can take it. And if you don't take it live, it'll be inside the Grow Your Money Club. And then you could get access to all my trainings that I do inside the Grow Your Money Club. All right. I appreciate you guys for taking the time to listen. Make sure that you pass this information to everybody that you love, everybody that owns homes, because it's not just enough to get in the house. It's not just enough to do that part. You need to protect your wealth. Okay. And again, the ultimate goal for a lot of us is to be able to put our children on a path. For most of us, right? Most of us want to make sure that our children have a fighting chance. And for me, you know, all my kids have properties and I own a marijuana dispensary. That's my kids' money. That's my kids' inheritance. So for me, I try to do things that that's going to benefit my kids. It's going to put them on a give them an advancement in life. And we should all be trying to do something that's going to give them some type of advancement. And so making sure that you protect your assets. If you can't do a marijuana dispensary, if you can't buy a bunch of properties for your kids, if you can't leave them $1 million, what you can do is if this property that you got, that can be an inheritance. You know, the Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. That will be your inheritance. But the way you really protect it is making sure that it has a trust on it so that nobody's hating each other, so that there are medical directives should you become incapacitated, and so that probate doesn't eat up your money, because it will. Okay? All right now. Love y'all in real life. See you tomorrow in the masterclass.